Loving God, open our hearts to hear your word. Set our hearts on fire with love for you. Stir our hearts to do your work in the world. Amen. This is just about my favorite Easter story. The story of two of Jesus' followers walking along the road to Emmaus on Easter Day. They are dismayed, discouraged, grief-stricken, and they are talking about these strange things that they have experienced when a stranger walks up and joins them. They can't recognize him, but it is Jesus. And when he asks them why they are so sad, what they are talking about, they're incredulous. Haven't you heard what's going on here? Our friend, Jesus, was arrested, convicted, and executed. But we had hoped he was the one, the Messiah. But we had hoped. We have all been in their position, walking through the griefs and sorrows of our lives, looking back and saying, but we had hoped. But we had hoped that that job prospect would come through. But we had hoped that the tumor would be benign. But we had hoped that the treatment would be successful. But we had hoped that the relationship could be salvaged and repaired. But we had hoped things might turn out differently. We have all been there. In an essay, Debbie Thomas writes, "The words we speak on the road to Emmaus are words of pain, disappointment, bewilderment, and yearning. They are the words we say when we've come to the end of our hopes, when our expectations have been dashed, our cherished dreams are dead, and there's nothing left to do but leave, defeated and done. But we had hoped." Are there any better words to describe our world right now? But we had hoped that we would be in church together this morning. But we had hoped that the spread of this disease could be contained much more quickly and effectively. But we had hoped that we would never have to go through something like this. The experience of the disciples on the road to Emmaus is our experience as well. Even as we are feeling the real difficulty of what we are going through, feeling our grief and confusion, Jesus is there, walking with us, even when we can't recognize him. I love this story so very much because it takes place on Easter Day. And the disciples, even though they don't know it, are already witnesses to the resurrection. You know, sometimes resurrection takes longer than we hoped it would. Sometimes it takes us longer to recognize the resurrection and new life around us. Sometimes seeing Jesus in the midst of us is impossibly hard, but he's still there. The road to Emmaus reminds us that even when we feel defeated, even when we can't imagine a better world, even when all we can focus on are our "but we had hopes," God is already at work in our midst. I find that to be a story of such comfort, such encouragement and strength. The invitation to all of us is that this week and in the coming weeks, when we find ourselves lost in the "but we had hoped" litanies, to remember that Jesus is there, sharing this journey with us, caring for us, strengthening and empowering us, even when we least expect it. Amen.